Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Slasher Scotty, and I have another alumni on from Friday the 13th on the phone right now. And I have Barbara Bingham, and she played Colleen Van Deusen from Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Hi, Barbara. How you doing?
I'm great. Scotty, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's very humid out though. It's very hot, so it's it's not
Uh,
very good that way.
yeah, well, it's the beginning of winter here in Sydney, so
Wow.
yeah, we're at the other. Yep,
I did not
nice and
know
chilly.
that. So I have about 11 questions for you. The first question is not related to anything about Friday the 13th, but it's how did you get your start into acting?
I got my start in acting. I was originally wanting to be a dancer, musical theater actor, and I went off to college in San Diego at a performing arts school, and I had starred in all my musicals in Hawaii and at my local high school. And when I got to college in California, they kept putting me in the uh, chorus, and I kept saying, no, 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 no. I really want to be out front, center, and they had a different idea for me. So I went. I left college realizing that I couldn't really sing and I couldn't really dance, but I could act.
Right.
And I went back to Hawaii and had been doing commercials all the way through high school and modeling through high school. And my first acting job was Hawaii Five-0.
Nice. Nice. So
Yeah.
what was your audition like for Friday the 13th, Part 8?
That was a great audition. David Cohn was the casting director, and he brought me in, and it was one of those roles that I really related to Colleen. She was just so easy for me to plug into being a caring, loving teacher to these kids and to Rennie.
Right.
So I knew when I had finished my audition that I had done a great job,
Right.
and I was able to go away from it thinking, even if I don't get it, I really nailed it.
Right.
So the fact that I got a call back and got to sit with Rob Hedden and talk about Colleen and what his vision for the movie was just icing on the cake.
That's awesome. So speaking of Rob
Yeah.
Hedden, how was he as a director?
He was awesome. He is such a nice guy, and you know, he, basically had a bunch of teenagers on set, more than anything,
Yeah.
and he just really knew how to make a very fun atmosphere, and he loved his horror. He just, and so his love of horror made all the rest of us love his
Right.
horror. It was just, yeah.
That's awesome.
Who's Kane gonna kill tonight?
So what was the best part about filming Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, and what was the worst?
Well, the best was probably just being out in the Canadian Rockies. We shot up in Vancouver, and the beginning scenes were up in Whistler, and it was so stunningly beautiful. The location
Nice.
was just stunning.
Right.
The worst probably would have been the boat scenes with the pelting rain. Because we started, it was torture. It was, everyone is wearing, everyone's on the crew has their down jackets, their raincoats, their hoods up, they are freezing, and we're sitting in a boat with pelting rain, watching all these guys, be warm. Those were long nights.
I bet they were. Oh my goodness. So what was it like working with Kane Hodder?
Look, Kane and I became really immediate friends. We're both the same age, and think at the time we would have been in our early 30s, and everyone else was, like I said before, teenagers.
Right.
So, so we bonded just because we were the same age.
Right.
And he is such a great guy, and
Right.
just he was really so much fun to work with.
That's awesome.
And who he is, who he was as Jason, was just blew my mind.
Right.
Watching him and being able to see the, I think a lot of guys could kind of phone in that purpose, and he was so much craft and attention from his stunt days.
Right.
In building that character, and I was just so impressed with him.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. So what was it like working with Peter Mark Richman, Jensen Daggett, and Scott Reeves?
Look, I got to say, we had so much fun. Peter Mark Richman has a wicked sense of humor. Not anything like Charles at all.
Right.
Just a funny guy. I think he's got something like 7 kids, total
Wow.
family man. He's been married for 30 years or something at that time, and just really a stand-up guy. And so we had so many nights of Peter, Jensen, Scott, myself, and BC roaming the streets, the back streets of Vancouver, and we just had the best time.
Awesome.
We just had, everyone just got along so well, and we played just as much offset as we did onset. We
That's
just had
so
so
awesome.
much fun.
So, as you mentioned earlier, majority of the movie was actually filmed in Vancouver. There was a select few scenes that were in New York City. Now, were any of your scenes shot in New York City, or were all of your scenes in Vancouver?
All of my scenes were in Vancouver, yes.
Okay.
I'm very sad that I was dead before they went to New York.
Exactly, right? So what was... Go ahead.
Spoiler alert.
So what was the most memorable moment that while filming Friday the 13th Part 8?
I think it would have to be that scene. There's a couple scenes. The scene with Rennie in the car when I give her Stephen King's pen.
Right.
Was the scene that I auditioned with Rob for, so I knew what he wanted in that scene, and building the relationship for Rennie and me.
Right.
And I adored that scene. But then I also adored the scene where I got to, go toe to toe with Charles when I brought Rennie on the trip, and
Right.
Going head to head with Peter Mark Richman was always fun. Always
That's
fun.
awesome. So we know that your character, Colleen, was killed off in a car crash when Rennie was driving the car. So if you had a choice to have Jason kill you, what would you want him to do for your death scene?
Look, that's a good question. That's a really good question.
Thank
the
you.
The thing is about dying in the car, I got to say, I just got to tell you, as an offside, that we had the screening at Grauman's Chinese Theater on Hollywood Boulevard.
Right.
And the theater was full, and when that scene came, and Peter Mark gets out of the car, and Rennie gets out of the car, and VC gets out of the car, and Scott, and this voice from the back of the theater says, "The lady in the car! There's a lady in the car!" And it was the moment for me where the audience really cared that
Right.
Colleen died.
Yeah.
And so as much as I would have loved to have been killed by Jason,
Right.
I think it's quite fitting anything that I didn't.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, you know, I don't know. I think BC probably had the best death that's ever been, you know, ever been filmed. That is just cinematic, you know, gold. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's fitting that Colleen did not die at the hands of Jason.
It makes sense because like she was a really good teacher. She was caring. So why have her brutally murdered by this monster?
That's right. That's exactly right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the last question I got for you is nothing about Friday the 13th again, but do you have any films or projects that you would like to promote to the listeners?
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome.
I recently wrote and produced and starred in a short film called Over the Edge.
Okay.
And it's a Hitchcockian thriller. And if you head over to my IMDb page under Barbara Bingham, you can find the trailer in there. It's now just getting submitted to film festivals, and I'll be updating my Instagram and Facebook as to what happens with the film and when it'll be released.
Okay.
And then there's a series that was done here in Australia by a group called Dead House Films.
Mm-hmm.
And the series is called Dead House Dark, and it's an anthology of 13 episodes
Mm-hmm.
In the horror genre.
Okay.
And if you go to the YouTube page, Dead House, and subscribe over there, there is just a plethora of, there's so much in there. You've got the trailer to Dead House Dark, and there's some other stuff that I've done in there. So it's Enzo Tedeschi was the director of Dead House Dark, and also my short film Over the Edge.
Okay.
And he just knows how to do the horror thriller genre. He's got that so dialed in. It's great.
That's awesome. So where can everybody find you outside of IMDb? Like any social media platforms or anything? Like, what are your handles? Do you know?
Yeah. Yes. So IMDb is Barbara Bingham. Facebook is Barbara Bingham. And over on Instagram, it's Barbara Bingham Hamming It Up.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I reached out
you're so welcome.
Thank you. So to tell everybody, I reached out to you, was it last month for an interview, and you were busy with the project, and then I reached out literally probably a month to the day, exactly a month to the day, I reached out again, and it was like perfect timing, and I'm so glad that we were able to set up this interview.
Yeah, me too, Scotty. We were just finishing Over the Edge, and it was just I was overwhelmed between COVID-19 and trying to finish the film. So I'm really glad you got back in touch and we could make this happen.
I am too. I'm so grateful, and I thank you so much for your time, and I hope you stay safe, and you have a great rest of your day, because it's just starting on Thursday over there.
It is Thursday morning here.
Well, I thank you, Barbara, so much, and you have a good day, and you stay safe.
All right. Thanks, Scotty.
Thanks so much.
Everybody.
All right. Bye.
See you later.